pain for a man is one of the most important elements in becoming successful. Batman is Batman because they killed his parents. If they did not kill his parents, he would not be Batman. You're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to take that pain. The worst thing that can happen to you as a man is you live a life with no pain in it. To be born into a rich family and have a nice, easy life and be given money, and you not have to go to the gym and not have to train because you have bodyguards and sit around like a fuck up. You're going to be miserable and unhappy and a drug addict buying prostitutes. You're only going to have women who adore you. You're only going to feel confident in yourself and feel happy when you've been through hell and come out the other side. The pain is required, and you'll often notice that people who are better than you are people who have suffered more than you have suffered. So, the person who is waiting for you, he requires your motivation. It also requires huge amounts of pain. So when bad things happen to you, do not sit at home and lament. Do not feel sorry for yourself. Instead, look in the mirror and say, thank you, God, for giving me one of the ingredients that is needed for the chemical concoction that is going to turn me into a superhero. Because pain is an extremely important one. In fact, it's one of the most important ones for a man. There's a version of you that never sleeps in, never skips training, never wastes time. There's a version of you who never fails. It is waiting for you. Genuinely ask yourself a question, you at home. If you had done those things for the last 2 years, you never skipped a training, you never wasted time, you never scrolled TikTok, you never jerked off to Pornhub, you never sat aimlessly on the internet typing in garbage, never played video games, you never wasted time. You never skipped training. You were training every single day. You never slept in. You were never lazy. There's this version of you. Imagine the person you would be. Genuinely imagine what you would look like. Imagine where you would live. Imagine the car you would drive. Imagine how much your woman would respect you. Imagine the love you would see in her eyes when she looks at you with adoration like a king. Imagine your existence. That person is waiting for you. And the only thing that's stopping you from being that person is your monumental laziness. You can have it. The universe is very giving. It will give you anything you work for. I've never seen somebody try for something with all of their might and not get it. The only people who do not have the things they want are the people who do not try for them. I've never seen a person wake up and say, my only dedication in life is to solve a Rubik's Cube and fail. You are not stupid. You are not incompetent. You are lazy and arrogant. It's extremely important you understand that that person is waiting for you and you are declining that version of yourself. In the multiverse, in the many different versions of the universe that exist, there is a version of you that does those exact things. And he is a greater person than you can even fathom. You can transform yourself into that guy. You can be a top G. That's exactly what I did. I knew who I was going to have to end up being before I became that person. My brother and I are not from rich families. We are not from advantaged beginnings. But I knew I had to be a big, strong, fighting billionaire. That's what I knew I had to be. I wanted to be Batman, so I became Batman. It's extremely important that I got up knowing what I wanted to be and did it. And we're talking from the complete ground up, how to become the best versions of yourself. Because manhood is exceptionally hard and life is hard. But how you shape yourself will determine how hard it is for you and how miserable it will be. I've said this many times in many different iterations on different podcasts, but I want to repeat it again. As a man, there is no easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, you should have been a girl. You made a mistake.
Yep.
Your life is not about being easy. Your life is not about being happy. Your life is always going to be difficult. All of the pain you feel, all of the sadness you feel, you're supposed to feel as a man, and you have two effective binary choices. You either go through the suffering and go through the trauma and go through the hardship it takes to be a man of value, or you suffer eternity as a nobody. And being invisible, I would argue, is almost worse. You can have a very stress-free life if you work in Starbucks. You don't care about the Starbucks once you clock off. You're not at work at the time. You go home, you play video games, and you exist until you die. That's stress-free, but you have to suffer being a nobody. Alternatively, you can go out there into the world, try and implement your mark on the world, work hard, try to get rich, more money, more problems. You can try and start a business, the stress of that. You can lose your girlfriend because all you're doing is working. This is a new level of stress, a new level of trauma, but at least you'll be a somebody at the end of it. There's two ways to suffer. You either suffer to become a somebody, or you suffer as a perpetual and forever nobody. What did Napoleon say?
He said, glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever.
Absolutely. Glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever. And when he says fleeting, that's a really good point, because everything in life is rented, especially your glory as a man. When you have a good body, it is not a good body as complete. It's not finished. You haven't completed the task. You have rented that good physical condition. You must train every day to retain it. Everything is rented. Your body, you don't just get a good body and you're done. You still have to go to the gym every day to maintain that good body. You don't just get a hot girl and it's done. You still have to work hard for her to always love you and respect you. You don't just start a business and now you're rich. No, you have to start a business and work on that business every day. If you take your eye off the business, it will fail. Everything in life is rented. So when he says glory is fleeting, he's also absolutely not correct, because glory is fleeting and you have to constantly and endlessly work for it and make sure that you never stop. Otherwise, it will be taken from you. But obscurity is forever. If you never make a mark on the world, then you effectively never existed.
Yeah.
And when you're gone, nobody will care. The reason our Father is discussed at length is because of who me and Tristan are. And the reason we will be discussed forever is because who our sons will become. And that's very important, because you have a duty to your ancestors and you have a duty to God. So you must make a choice. And this is genuine choice for you people at home. Do you want to live in obscurity forever and be invisible and not matter and have an easier life? I would argue that it's not easier, because in your heart and in your soul, you're going to feel guilty knowing you could have been something you're not, and you have a duty to your ancestors and to God to be the best version of yourself. Or do you want to try your absolute best and struggle and suffer every day of your life, paying the rent for all of the amazing things around you? We pay endless rent. We pay rent for our bodies. We pay rent for our relationships. We pay rent to keep our kids. We pay rent to keep our business. We pay rent to keep our freedom. Every single day is work to pay the rent. It's absolutely never ending, and you have to make that choice. So if you have a pen and paper in front of you, you need to decide. Do you want to be invisible with a lower rent bill, or do you want to be important and work hard and suffer to make sure that the rent is paid? It's a choice you must make, and it's binary, and you must be extremely dedicated towards the decision you finally make. You need, and this is very important, you lack imagination, because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. But if you're in the middle, you don't do that. You don't want it enough to talk about it and imagine over the temporary dopamine and entertainment you can achieve from the fucking PlayStation your mother bought you, because your parents have enough money for PlayStations. We didn't have one. We couldn't get one. We couldn't afford it. I'd like to be rich, but Netflix is on and the TV's on and mom's just brought me a Capri Sun.
The heating's on.
I'm not cold. Everything's fine. So you don't sit and imagine deep in your soul. Not only do you lack fire, not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the fucking man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. Poor people imagine escaping, and rich people have duty to their last name, which is instilled in them, so they are born and raised to be winners. Your parents are not doing that. Your parents aren't even saying you need to be rich because your last name is X. They're not saying that. It's bullshit. They are poisoning you,
because you will not be happy.
You know what poor parents say to you? Do you think poor parents say as long as you're happy? No, they say, listen, little nigger, you better get some fucking money, because you ain't living in this house for free. You're 14 now, and you better start putting money into this house. We had to put money into the house at 15 years old. Yeah. You better get some fucking money. What do you mean you want to follow your dreams? What do you mean you're tired? What do you mean you want to go to fucking therapy? What do you mean you want to just sit around and play video games? You better get some money, you little bitch.
Deliver those newspapers.
Yeah, go get a fucking job. Go work at a gas station. I don't give a shit. Get some money. Go get some money. And we used to sit there struggling to make money as teenagers, giving it all away to our parents to keep the house functioning, dreaming of a world where we didn't have to do that anymore. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired, because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all all realms forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no fucking middle class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire.
And being a top G is basically just about being your most formidable version of yourself, your most capable version of yourself. And you'll often see that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And it doesn't matter what genetic disposition you're born with. If you truly try your best, you can be in the top 1% of the planet. I have absolutely no doubts about it, because we're living in a world which isn't even that difficult to excel in. The world's ultra competitive, but there are a few people like myself, my brother. We understand the game. We're trying our very, very best to win. But the majority of people out there, especially men, aren't even trying to win. They don't realize they're playing a game. And the reason for that is because the easiest way to keep people enslaved is for them to not realize they're in a jail in the first place. You put someone in a jail, they try and break out. You put them in a fish tank with a clear wall where they can see the outside world. And because they don't try to swim very hard, they never realize that they're actually constrained. They don't ever bump their head up against the perspex or the glass, which is preventing their ascent. So the majority of people in the world today do not realize they're in a jail. This has been done on purpose so that the majority don't resist, meaning that people like you who pay attention, who understand exactly how the world truly functions, can become ultra competitive and live lives worth living. And it's important that you do that now quickly before, one, the possibility of it happening or the difficulty required for you to achieve said things increases, and two, before everybody else realizes and starts trying to get out. You don't want to be trying to rush out the door once the building's set on fire, because then everyone else is trying to rush out the door and you might burn to death. You want to try and get out the door when you know a fire is coming and everyone else is busy enjoying, I don't know, whatever else is going inside. Some garbage that is entertaining them, some concert, some circus garbage which has them distracted. Let them pay attention to the garbage. You get out the fire escape, and once the fire has started, you will have used your perspicacity and your ability to think quickly and act before others to ensure the safety for you and your bloodline into eternity. Evolution requires pain. While others complain that they do not feel happy enough, I'm happy I'm struggling. I don't want to be happy. I want to be great. This is the beauty of life as a man. Let me ask you a question. Imagine you're engaged in mortal combat against me, the top G. Somehow, grace from God, a miracle, you have managed to survive longer than a few seconds. You have me in a chokehold and I have you in a chokehold. Both of us are losing air. You're sitting there struggling, understanding you're in pain, about to pass out, wishing you could breathe, and you look across at me and I'm smiling. Do you understand? I don't care. I'm happy to be struggling. I wanted to fight. You wanted to win. I wanted to fight. That's the difference. You're concerned with winning. I wanted to just fight. And we're fighting. That is the beauty of life as a man, to be great. If you concern yourself only with being happy, you are once again acting like a female or a child. Happiness is fleeting. It doesn't even matter if you're concerned only with the hedonism of happiness. You're going to drink alcohol and go to parties and go to festivals and take drugs. I want to be happy. Who cares? I want to be great. Yep. If I gave you $1 million right now, you would not have a sparkle in your eye that women respect. You would not have that depth of your character that men respect. But if I teach you how to make $1 million and you make $1 million with your own grit and determination, that $1 million becomes far more valuable because you are a more important person. It's not just about giving a man a fish. It's about teaching a man to fish. And once the man knows how to fish, he has an unspoken aura. Something changes about him that makes that money much more valuable.
It's detectable.
And it's detectable. Being a rich dork who just found some money on a crypto pump is not a life worth living. You need to make that money, because as you make that money, you learn everything about negotiation, networking. You learn everything about stress and hard work and determination. And it is those things that is going to change your soul and forge you into a man which is respected by your peers and also respected by the females that you're trying to attract. And they're going to look at you in a way where they're going to know, I can actually trust this man. He didn't find this money. He didn't get this money lucky. He earned it. He's the kind of man who never fails and never loses. And that's why it's so important that you earn money. Even if I could give you all $1 million right now, I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be good for you. It would be detrimental for you. Most of you are not ready for wealth. You have to go out there and earn it yourselves. This idea that you can go through life as a man and avoid war is probably the biggest mistake that most men make, because it is impossible for you to achieve anything significant without war. Running a business is war. Running a hotel, running a restaurant, running an online company, it's war. Training is war. Life as a man is war. You need to wake up and view it exactly as what it is. Everything I want, other people want. Everything I desire, other men are trying to get. This is a war, and I must outcompete them. That is the best possible mental model you can have. Even in jail, it was a war for who could stay most calm, a war who could control their mind the best, a war for who could suffer the least. That is war. I was surrounded by people who lost their minds, and I refused. It was a battle, and I was successful. Life, in and of itself as a man, is a never-ending struggle and a never-ending battle. It is the constant of the human condition. You can give most people a roadmap to success. You can give them a Ferrari with a full tank of gas, and a lot of people still wouldn't make the destination because they would say the drive is too far away. Quitters, they don't have the discipline. You can tell them exactly how to do it. You can give them the mechanism to get there, but they don't have the discipline to complete the drive and end up at the destination. That is the majority of Earth. This is your competition. People who, even if they are told what to do, and people tell them exactly how to do it and help them do it, still quit, still fail because they lack discipline. Even me, with my monumental powers and unlimited Aikido
technique,
I can't make a quitter successful. It doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter how easily I make it for them to succeed. It doesn't matter how compendious and concise and powerful the real world is. It doesn't matter how much I text them and motivate them, how many emergency meetings I do to try and talk to them and hype them up, how much motivation I give them. It doesn't matter what I do. If they are a quitter, guess what they're going to do? They're going to quit. No matter how simple the map is to read, no matter how fast a Ferrari is, they're going to quit. No matter how simple the map is to read, no matter how fast a Ferrari is, somewhere along the drive, the sun's going to get in their eyes, and they're going to sit there and go, I don't like this, this is hard, and they're going to quit. Quitters are the number one type of people that nobody can help. If you're a quitter, I can't help you, life can't help you, God himself cannot help a quitter. So if you lack discipline, you lack the very basic building block to any type of success which exists on the planet. By every single metric which can be measured with science, you are going to stay a loser and a failure. Pain is an extremely important part of the equation. Pain is the elixir of success. When people say this bad thing happened to me and I'm suffering, I say good. It is pain which is required. It's one of the elements in the chemical reaction. If a chemical reaction requires 5 particular distinct compounds and you have 4 and you're missing 1, it simply doesn't work. Discipline is the key to success. If you cannot force yourself to do something you don't want to do, how are you ever going to put yourself through the suffering required for greatness? If you cannot force yourself to train when you do not want to train, if you cannot force yourself to work when you don't want to work, if you can't force yourself to not log into Pornhub or force yourself to eat right, how can you possibly ever become a monumentally successful person if you cannot control yourself long enough to do what must be done as opposed to what you feel like doing? The only people who get to live their lives based on how they feel are women and children. Children can cry because they feel like crying, as can a woman. A woman can start an argument because she feels like arguing, as can a child. A man must do what he is supposed to do irregardless of how he feels. That is the key component to masculinity, is discipline. If you do not have the discipline to dedicate yourself to anything, you are going to fail and be crushed by the people who can. If you only go to the gym when you feel like going to the gym, you're never going to be as strong as the people who go to the gym when they don't feel like going to the gym. That is a reality of life. So, I train every single day. I've actually heard from some people saying, you overtrain. And I explained to them, 1, I don't believe in rest. I'm not you. I'm not pussy, and I'm not broke like you are, Mr. Fitness Trainer, standing around the gym teaching people for $50 an hour. I don't need to listen to you. Secondly, I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it, so I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. I am that man, and it is more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot? Discipline is absolutely essential for success. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get to fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as fuck, she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together, right? So this is so important. Trauma is such an important part of being a man. And the Matrix talks of trying to say that trauma is terrible and avoid trauma, or if you get trauma, take a pill, and that's unrealistic. Trauma is going to happen to you, and you as a man need to internalize it, accept it, and weaponize it to become the best version of yourself you can be. And that requires mental strength and stoicism. It does not require, be more emotional. If you're more emotional, you're going to fall apart when shit happens. There has to be a villain. Now, most people think their villain is someone else. You see this all the time. The villain's the opposite of the hero. So if you're sitting at home and you haven't got much money and you're broke and you're pissed off and you're depressed, and you look at me and I have 4 supercars and all these girls, I'm traveling the world, I go everywhere I want, you may think I'm your villain. People look at other people and think, oh, that guy has this guy has this, and they become envious and they think that's the villain. That's not true. That's not the case, because every single person has different circumstances. There are things you have that I don't have, and there's things I have that you don't have. So I may have had a genetic gift over you, for example, because I'm a fantastic kickboxer, but you may have been born more wealthy than me. I was born in a very, very poor family. So I had advantages and disadvantages. You had advantages and disadvantages. So comparing yourself to other people is asinine, and it's inane because it's not a level, fair playing ground. There are some people who are born to millionaire parents who are gorgeous, model, good looking, and have 6-packs without trying. Some people are lucky like that. That's just how it is. So comparing yourself to these people is not going to help you. Your villain is nobody else. Your villain is someone you're going to create. And you're going to create your villain because he's going to motivate you to be the most powerful hero you can possibly be. So you're going to create your villain. And you need to get very comfortable and very used to the idea of understanding that on your path to greatness, there are going to be long periods of time where you hate what you are doing, where you are dissatisfied with the actions you must undertake, where you are tired, where you are stressed. That is why it is difficult. That is why most people won't make it. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets to gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place. If it wasn't difficult, everyone would have it and you wouldn't want it because no one would respect it. It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless. Discipline is the key to success in all realms as a man. And if you lack it, you stand no chance. Excel in one area if you lack in others. I have people say to me, Andrew, I'm short. What do I do? I'm short. Okay, God made you short. Fine, good. Doesn't matter. You can't change it. What you can do is become as strong as an ox and become filthy rich and monumentally important and extremely influential. You can do that. People say, I'm poor. You should be strong. Oh, I'm strong, but I don't have any money. Okay, then teach others to be strong.
Yes.
There's always a way you can take your advantages and use them. And by teaming up with other men, other people, you can build a team in which there are no weaknesses. So if you have a disadvantage, you also have somewhere God has given you a distinct advantage over others. And it is your duty to excel in that realm. It is your duty to become so monumentally influential and powerful within that specific criteria in which you have the capability to be brilliant, that your weaknesses no longer appear because they can be simply overshadowed by your network or overshadowed by your absolute competence. I'll give you an example. Let me give you a very easy example for me, the top G. I only speak English. I live in Romania. I've lived here for 7 years, so I don't speak Romanian. A lot of the people here speak many languages. A lot of the women I know speak many languages. It's quite common in the world today for people to speak 3 or 4 languages. It's no longer as uncommon as it used to be. And people say to me, Andrew, you're so smart. You only speak English. I find that very interesting. Why don't you speak other languages? And I say, but my command of the English language is so brilliant that my podcasts are the most viewed on the planet. Do you understand that I haven't had to learn another language because the English which I speak is better than the English that anybody else speaks? I'm not sitting here like some jackass only speaking one language saying, because then I need maybe more than one to get my point across. I don't need to know another language. I can get my point across with Aikido. I can stand there in a country in which I speak no language, where I don't understand anything and they don't understand English, and just by my stature, just by the car I turn up in, just by the composition of my body, just by my aura, just by my flawless technique of Aikido, people know what I mean, and they know I mean what I say. So I have compensated for the fact that I don't speak other languages with brutally beautiful English. The sentences I construct are world famous. And let me ask you a question as a man at home, genuinely, truthfully. Would you rather be a loser who's always smiling, a happy loser, or would you rather be a stressed winner? Because I'll tell you something about winners. Most of them are stressed.
We are stressed.
We're stressed. Putin is stressed. Genghis Khan was stressed when his messenger turned up after a 4-week ride with updates from the battlefront of Iran. I'm sure he was stressed by what he read. Even if it was very good, even if it all looked fantastic, he started to feel stressed. Okay, well now maybe I need to go to Iran. How long is it going to take me to get there? Maybe we need to send more horses. Maybe we need to colonize Iran. He felt stress because the beauty of life as a man is to be great. So you have to sit here and ask yourself, do you want to be a happy loser that's insignificant? Nobody knows you exist. Women don't respect you. Men don't respect you. Nobody cares if you live or die, but you get to smile all the time. Or do you want to be one of the most important people on the planet with a little bit of stress? So forget about this garbage of I want to be happy. I don't feel happy. Happiness. I get these messages all the time. How do I feel happy as a man? You're not supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be monumentally influential and capable. That's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be the kind of person that when people call your phone with a problem, you can fix it. You're supposed to be the kind of person that people look at and feel deep respect for, male or female. Even my enemies respect me. They don't want to. They can't help it. But they can't stand my brilliance. They go, he's so tall and strong and sexy and rich. All these women keep sending him super chats. It destroys their soul. Fortunate enough to have a fantastic father, great. But if you don't, there are very little lessons, and there's basically no guidance out there explaining to you the self-accountability which is required to be a man. You must accept the decision you want to make, and you must accept that everything is your fault. Everything is on your shoulders, regardless of what God throws at you. Give you an example. Me and you were in jail. Did we still have bills to pay? Did we still have mouths to feed?
Absolutely we
did. Did we still have a business to run? We're locked in a Romanian jail cell with no access to the outside world, and we still had responsibilities, and we were still absolutely and utterly accountable for those. We didn't sit and say, well, I'm in jail, so they don't matter.
Let them take care of it.
No, they do matter. We're men, and they must be handled, and we found a way to handle it regardless. Even though we believe we shouldn't have been in jail, even though it was unfair, even though it was a matrix attack, we still took absolute and utter self-accountability for the situation and all of our problems. We never skipped a beat. We never missed a single payment. We never let anyone starve. We handled absolutely everything from a jail cell. And you have to sit here and understand, most of you are in absolute freedom, not meeting your responsibilities. How are you going to meet your responsibilities if you become important enough to be locked in a jail? How are you going to meet your responsibilities when you're heartbroken? How are you going to meet your responsibilities if you lose all your money? God rewards men who attack the world. You have to go and get things. You have to show that you deserve them. Even in mating, men go get the woman. Men go get money. Men go take land. Men go. We go and happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to us. That's extremely feminine. And you should be very careful when you talk in general, especially around women, talking about things happening to you. So I could say to a woman, the Romanians locked me up and put me in jail and took all my cars. That's gay. Instead, I say, I told the truth against the Matrix, and they feared me, so they counterattacked. I did it to them. They didn't do shit to me. I did it to them, and they counterattacked. And when they counterattacked, I used it as an opportunity to do more push-ups than ever before. I've never done so many daily push-ups in jail. And I became a more formidable opponent. I became a better version of myself. So who won? Who really won? Did the state win? I'm still breathing. I'm still renowned. I'm still alive. Who won here? I won. I got to explore a brand new level of the map. I got a brand new experience. I got to build further on my mental fortitude? Where's the loss? What did I lose? Some money? These things don't matter.
Andrew, can you motivate me? Why weren't you motivated when you stood a chance? Why weren't you motivated when I spoke before? Why must reality slap you in the face so brutally for you to wake up? You're the kind of dickhead who drives his car on the ice and slides all over the place and won't slow down. It's only when you hit a fucking tree and lose a leg do you sit there like a pirate, a dumb pirate with a wooden fucking leg. You sit there and go, I might slow down next time. You only learn lessons the hardest possible way. And here I am, respected as one of the greatest orators in the English language, trying my best to convince you to win. I'm not trying to convince you to commit suicide. I'm not trying to convince you to die. I'm not trying to convince you to lose. I'm trying to convince you to do something you should already want to fucking do, which is win. And I can't seem to get you to take action and move and work.
If you're not strong, you don't love anybody. And I mean that. If you love your women and you love your children, you're strong. If you sit and say, I love them, but I'm tired. Don't love them that much. Men are based on their utility. We are based on what we can do for others. That's what we're based on. It doesn't matter what kind of idealistic world you want to live in, but that's what we're based on. As men, we're all based on our utility. And if you're weak, you don't have utility. You don't have any. Because the essential and most important utility as a man is to resist enslavement. And weak people can. Because weak people won't. That's why weak leaders are the worst. And also, you can't be a good friend to any other man if you're weak. Because you can have the best of intentions for me. But when push comes to shove, you can either do nothing or will sell me out. That's it. What else can you do? You either do nothing or you sell me out to save yourself. Weakness is the most disgusting thing on a man. Women know it. Women will tell your ass. Women smell it. There's a reason they love strong men. They haven't even got to fucking like you if you're strong enough. They'll still love you. If you don't have any kind of strength, you don't have utility. And I really believe if you love anybody, you're going to try your very best to become strong. That's not just physically. It's mentally, it's financially, it's in all ways. But all of them are important, right? I see people on Twitter who have a body like mine and they're on steroids when I'm not. And that's their whole personality. And I see people on Twitter who have money less than me, and that's their whole personality. And I see people on Twitter who get girls, and that's their whole personality. And I see people on Twitter who are famous, this whole personality. Like I tick every box, and I'm constantly pushing all the time. Because I know that I get to show more love to the people I care about, the better I become. I show love better when I am stronger. My love has utility. When you're a winner, you analyze your performance in all things. If you're a grandmaster at chess, after you play a game, win or lose, you go through the game to identify mistakes, to see what you did right, to see what you did wrong. You talk to other grandmasters, you get their take on the position. If you're a fighter, you watch your fights back. And here you are living your life, you're not even fucking reflecting. Stop for a second and think about what I just said to you. All of the time you have wasted. Your dynasty leads to nowhere because you wanted to fucking jerk off instead of try. And you come to me to motivate you. How the fuck can I motivate limp dick losers like that? What do you want me to say? I gave you a guaranteed win. I told you what was going to happen. I gave you a way to make the money. I came on here every day and told you to fucking work. The pot of gold's at the end of the rainbow. I kept making the rainbow shorter and shorter. I kept making the pot of gold closer and closer. No matter how close I dragged it, you just stood there like a dipshit. Oh yeah, but it's over there. Maybe you're all just born to fucking lose. Maybe there's nothing I can say. It doesn't matter how I preach. You losers are losers by design. It's in your DNA. It's in your blood. It's in your cells. You can't change it. No matter what situation I put you in, you'll find a way to fucking lose. Maybe you're the guy who you can entrust. You'll say, here's a gun. There's our prisoner. Keep the gun on the prisoner, and if he moves, shoot him. And you'll stand there with a gun pointing at the prisoner. And me, the boss, will go piss. When I come back in the room, the prisoner's gone and you're dead. And I'll just look at you on the ground, lifeless, double tapped in the fucking dome, and think, how the fuck did you even do that? How did you even fuck that up? How did he traverse 11 meters and beat the shit out and double tap you? I've only taken a piss. I've been gone 19 seconds. And then I'd look up to the sky, look up to God and say, was he just born to fucking lose? There is no other justification for your monumental impotence and lack of action besides the fact that your DNA is literally enlaced with loserdom. I don't understand. Rain dances work. If you need it to rain, you shouldn't sit and pray. You shouldn't sit and hope. You shouldn't sit and complain that it's not raining. You shouldn't sit and wait. You should rain dance. Does a rain dance make clouds appear? No, but you should take action. Perhaps your rain dance, although will not make clouds appear, will be viewed by a tribe high on the mountain far away, and they'll look down seeing you rain dance and realize that you need water. And then maybe providence and luck will have this tribesman appear with big barrels of water saying, we think you might need water and we have some spare. If you didn't rain dance, they wouldn't know. They just see you sitting around being a mopey dipshit, crying his eyes out. That's why it's so important to take action in all things. Action solves all. Raw action is the answer. How do I get out of jail? Push-ups. Why? I don't know. But as I said to my brother, there is a number of push-ups that I must complete. And when that is done, they'll say I can go home. Because I won't be here forever. There is a number of push-ups, once they are done, that cell door opens. I don't know what the number is. I don't know if it's 1,000. I don't know if it's 100,000. This is why I was counting how many push-ups I was doing. I don't know. But there's a certain number of push-ups that I'm going to complete in jail. And once they're completed, the jail door opens. Therefore, I need to do as many push-ups as possible all day and all night when I can't sleep until those push-ups are complete. The more push-ups I do, the sooner I'm out. That may not make sense to the layman. That may not make sense to the average person, but it made perfect sense to me. There's a certain number that must be completed, so let's get to work. Now, you could sit and tell me that my push-ups didn't get me out of jail. You could say my lawyer got me out of jail, or that the judge let me out of jail, or time let me out of jail. I'll sit here and say I was supposed to do X amount of 1,000 push-ups, and I completed them, and now I'm home. Raw action solves all. It is a mindset. Yeah, it takes hard work. It also takes a degree of luck. Where does the luck come from? It comes from God. Who does God favor? What makes God like you? God likes you when you try. There's nothing that's going to piss God off more than wasting what he fucking gives you. If you give someone a Ferrari and they look after it perfectly, you're happy. If you give someone a Ferrari and see it the next day, it's got cigarette butts, it's treated like shit. Would you be happy you gave him a Ferrari? God gave you a consciousness, he gave you a body, he gave you a mind, and you're not even fucking using it. You're crying over that bitch who left you. You're not using it to be the best version of yourself. You're not using it to get as rich and powerful as possible. You're not using it to change the world. You're not using it to protect those you love. You're not using it for anything. And you expect God to make you lucky? God only has so much luck to give out. Wouldn't he give it to his soldiers who dedicate themselves and try? Wouldn't you think, you know what, that Tate motherfucker, he's been through something and he will not quit and he will not stop and he's never said he doesn't deserve it. He's never bitched. He's never moaned. He's never felt sorry for himself. He's never complained. He got up every day and worked. Let's give him some luck. What about this guy? Always crying, always has a problem, always feels sorry for himself, always needs motivation, never gets anything done. Everything's everyone else's fault. Does he deserve any of the luck I have in my pocket? The answer is fucking no. You make your own luck by dedicating yourself to the universe. It's crazy. I see so many red pill guys, so many guys on the internet, so many men constantly complaining about women, not understanding that if one of the genders is broken, if one side of the yin is broken, the yang is going to break by extension. It's impossible to complain about women and the way women act if men are not acting the way they should act, because we're designed to work together. And I think as men, we have most control over ourselves, absolute self-accountability. So the best way we can fix the world, the best way we can change or fix women is to fix ourselves, look at ourselves, and be the best kind of men we can be. When you see a man who is constantly complaining about women, that's a reflection of him. If every woman he meets disrespects him, he will say women are disrespectful. I would argue he is not worthy of respect, because I'll tell you something that a lot of people don't want to hear. I don't meet bad women. When I'm around women, they treat me with absolute respect. They're extremely feminine. They're extremely soft. They're extremely kind. They let me lead. They let me take control. They let me do what I need to do as a man because they look at me and they respect me. And a woman is a reflection of her man. If I was less of a man, the same woman might treat me in a disrespectful way. But that is down to me, who I am. So when I see these men constantly complaining about women and the way women act and women in society, I understand what they're trying to do, but what they don't understand is if they took self-accountability, if the men all took self-accountability and truly became men of honor and capability and bravery worthy of respect, the women would reflect that. The women you interact with will reflect that. I can't meet a bad woman. You can only fix yourself. As men, I assume most of you watching this are men, we can only fix masculinity and manhood. And by extension, because the genders work in absolute parallel, if manhood and masculinity is fixed, femininity and the feminine world will be fixed by extension and automatically. You see it. When you see a real G with his woman, you see how perfectly they work together naturally. And that's because the man is the right kind of man, not because the woman is the right kind of woman. So I think it's very asinine, pestilizer, my friend. I think it's extremely asinine when I see people constantly complaining about females on these streams and complaining about how women act and what women do. When I look at their characteristics and their qualities as a man, even I know they're not shit. So you think a woman doesn't know? A woman has evolved to intrinsically understand the man she is with is responsible for her safety and she must trust him with her life. If she knows you're nothing but bravado and a big mouth, if she knows all you do is talk and you haven't truly lived it and you've never put your life on the line, why would she respect you deep in her heart? Women are not stupid. They have intuition and they can look into your eyes and they can look into your soul and they can see if you are the man you pretend to be. It's the information that you absorb and what you do with it that will ultimately mold and shape who you want to become. You create your reality, you create the information you absorb, and you're not sitting there absorbing garbage from loudmouth idiots or matrix programming that's designed to keep you inside of the slave mind. You have to be very careful with the things you consume. So I want you to think at home. I want you to think, besides your loud mouth, what do you have that make people know you're truly a man? What do you have? I can name some things, right? People walk in my house, they can see, okay, I'm financially successful. They look at my body, they know I'm motivated, disciplined, I'm extremely strong. They look at my world title belts, they know I can fight. They look at the woman on my arm, they know that I am worthy of respect because she treats me with absolute respect. They look at my network, they see that men treat me with absolute respect. I don't have to open my mouth and people can instantly look at me and go, okay, he has X, Y, and Z. If you couldn't talk, you put on a t-shirt, you put on some jeans, and you can't talk, and you're walking around the world. When people look at you, why do they see you as a high-value man? Do you have anything you project? Do you project true bravery? Do you project true confidence? Or do you need to talk to try and convince people of these things? They say confidence is quiet. It can also be very loud, but you don't want to live in a delusion. That's the first thing. So I want every single person here who's actually taking notes to think, if I can't talk, how am I judged? If I can't speak, what do people think of me? How am I projecting my value to the world if I can't say a word? That's the most important thing. Women are a mirror to men. That's what's so important, people to understand. Women are a mirror. If you're running into a bunch of rude, ungrateful women, that's God telling you that you need to be a better man. I guarantee some of the women who have treated you terribly, who have disrespected you and wouldn't obey you and wouldn't listen to you and didn't want to be nice to you and didn't want to be soft or feminine or kind or gentle with you, would treat me and my brother like gods. The same woman, because of who we are. So it's very hypocritical, and it's extremely naive, and it's extremely asinine to sit and complain endlessly about womanhood without understanding that it's actually manhood that leads. And genuine men who genuinely stand up and have absolute capability will never encounter negative or bad, disloyal woman. We don't have women. No woman cheats on us. No woman goes behind our back. No woman sells us out. No, nothing. Because of who we are as men. So once you build yourself, womanhood is fixed by default within your world. The women you're going to meet in your world and your reality are going to act perfectly for you because you're worth it and you deserve it. If you're walking up saying, oh, women don't act right, I hate women, women do this, women are sluts, that's because you are not the man you need to become. As a man, you are most formidable if everything is your fault. If it rains outside and you get wet, that is still your fault. Can you control the rain? No. Could you have brought an umbrella? Yes. You need to blame yourself for all things, the good and the bad. And by doing this, you take absolute self-accountability, which allows you to build a mental model in which you will find solutions, 1. 2, avoid trouble, because you know that anything bad happens to you is your fault. And 3, be the most fearsome competitor possible, because we're living in a very competitive world nowadays amongst the elites. The people who understand that you're living inside of a fish tank are trying very hard to get out. And you have to make sure that you can outrun some of them if you want to escape. It's an age-old adage. If a bear is chasing a group of people, you do not have to be the fastest one. You just have to be faster than the slowest. The slowest person is going to die. So as long as you're ahead of the majority of people, and you already should be because you're watching this emergency meeting, you stand a very good chance of avoiding slavery. I am brilliant because I've decided to be brilliant. And if I have to sacrifice happiness to be brilliant, then that's fine. You know what the great thing about it is? You know it's amazing what God gives, how the whole world becomes full circle? If you stop caring about being happy and you start caring instead about being great, guess what you end up being?
Great.
Along with great.
And you know what? Yeah,
Happy. You end up happy if you forget about happiness and try to become great. If you concern yourself with happiness, you end up in a crowd surrounded by ketamine skanks jumping up and down in a festival doing dumb shit. You will never be successful if you're concerned about being happy, so forget about it. Your future is the result of your daily actions. You're defined by what you do today. Lazy now, loser later. Get to work. Now, what have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? How many of you at home have actively tried to network today? When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? Are you a pussy? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build the dream life that you want to have. And then you expect it to just appear. We understand intricately. We understand this viscerally. We understand that nothing is going to come to us unless we go out there and get it ourselves. And once you have that, you have endless motivation for all things. That is extremely important. Most of you, your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself. You are the one who is destroying your own prospects because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life. You do not control your woman. You do not control the weather. You do not control the politicians. You don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things.
Life is actually easier as a whole if you see yourself as a hero. Because in every single hero story, the hero suffers. He has a hard time. And if you understand that you're suffering because you're a hero, then the suffering begins to make sense. So you can be sitting here right now going, my woman doesn't respect me, I have no money in the bank, this is difficult, I'm struggling here, I'm struggling there. You can feel sorry for yourself, or you can say, yeah, my woman doesn't respect me, I'm struggling, I can't make money, but you know what, that's because I'm a fucking superhero. And my life's gonna be hard, because I'm a man, and as a hero, it's gonna be difficult. These are the tests and the trials and tribulations I have to go through to become someone. Every single male superhero went through a whole ton of shit before he became superhero. You've seen the Batman movies. His parents died. He was locked up in jail. All these bad things happen, and then they emerge as the hero. And this is done for a reason, because it's the reality of life, especially as a man. So right now, you have to understand that you're the hero in this movie, and if you're struggling for a very important reason. And how you handle these struggles and how you deal with these struggles are going to decide the kind of person you're going to be afterwards. You're either going to be a superhero, or you're going to succumb to them and you're going to fail. So be happy that you're struggling, because that's important.